The year is 2001. Snowboarding is exploding. MTV plays snowboard videos. Tony Hawk just made skateboarding mainstream, and winter action sports, they're about to find their king. His name is Shaun White. 19 years old, red hair that earns him the nickname the Flying Tomato.
The expectation levels were so high for Shaun White.
Born with a heart defect that required 2 open-heart surgeries before his first birthday. But you'd never know it watching him fly. White is doing things on a halfpipe that seem physically impossible. Back-to-back 1080s, technical perfection. And the smile? Always that $1 million smile. Burton Snowboards sees it. Target sees it. Corporate America sees it. Shaun White isn't just a snowboarder. He's a brand waiting to happen. But there's another story happening at the same time on the East Coast, in the scrappy mountains of New Jersey. Danny Cass, 4 years older than White, grew up riding Mountain Creek in Vernon, New Jersey. While White was being groomed by Burton in the pristine mountains of California, Cass was grinding rails in parking lots and learning his craft on icy East Coast hills. And Cass, he's the real deal. In 2001, he wins everything. The US Open, Winter X Games gold in Superpipe. Every major event. He's introducing combinations nobody has seen. Back-to-back tens, switchback rodeos. His style is loose, effortless, cool. But here's the thing about Danny Cass. He doesn't want to be Shaun White. While White is signing endorsement deals with Target and HP, Cass is starting a glove company with his brother called Grenade. The logo? A grenade. The vibe? Rebellion. The attitude? Middle finger to the establishment. Cass wears headphones during competitions, rocks his own brand goggles, gives interviews that make TV producers nervous. He parties, gets arrested twice in New Zealand, once for possession, once for driving a van up a ski run. Danny Cass represents everything snowboarding was supposed to be: countercultural, anti-authority, raw. And in 2002, these two forces are about to collide at the Olympics. February 2002, Salt Lake City. The American snowboard halfpipe team is stacked, but all eyes are on 2 riders, Danny Cass and Shaun White. Actually, scratch that. All eyes are on 1 rider, Danny Cass. White is only 15 years old. Talented? Absolutely. But he's the kid, the rookie. Nobody expects him to medal. Cass is the favorite. He's been destroying the competition all year. This is supposed to be his moment. When the dust settles, the American flag gets raised 3 times, a sweep: gold, silver, bronze. Ross Powers takes gold, Danny Cass, silver. And in 3rd place, barely old enough for a learner's permit, Shaun White takes bronze. Cass should be thrilled, an Olympic silver at 21 years old, but you can see it in his face on the podium. It's not gold. It's close, but it's not gold. What Cass doesn't know yet? This is just the beginning. In 4 years, that kid in the bronze medal position will become his nightmare. Between 2002 and 2006, Shaun White doesn't just improve, he dominates. Winter X Games, gold, gold, gold. US Open, 3 consecutive titles. He's on magazine covers. He's in video games. His own video game. Rolling Stone calls him the future of action sports. Red Bull signs him. Target launches his clothing line. At 19, Shaun White is the biggest name in winter sports. Meanwhile, Danny Cass, still winning, still talented, still cool. But he's becoming the answer to a trivia question. Who was the other guy? The media loves the contrast. White is clean-cut, media-trained, sponsor-friendly. Cass is rough edges, counterculture, the real snowboarder. It's corporate versus core, California versus New Jersey, the system versus the rebel. And in 2006, they're both heading back to the Olympics. This time as teammates, this time with the world watching. This time, there can only be one king. February 12, 2006, Bardonecchia, Italy, the halfpipe venue at the Turin Olympics. Shaun White steps to the edge for his first qualifying run. The world is watching. The pressure is immense. The hype is suffocating. And he almost blows it. First run, 37.7 points out of 50. For context, you need roughly 43 points to advance. White is in danger of elimination. The Flying Tomato is about to crash and burn on the biggest stage in the world. Second qualifying run, White has to perform. No room for error. He drops in. Alley-oop frontside 1080, back-to-back rotations that make the crowd gasp. Final score, 45.3. He's through. Barely. Danny Kass coasts through qualifications with ease. Cool, calm, collected. Same Danny, same style, same confidence. But now comes the final. And this time, everything is on the line. The finals, 2 runs, best score counts. Danny Kass drops in for his run, and it's beautiful. Classic Kass, that effortless, floaty style. Switchback rodeo, alley-oop to finish. Technical, smooth, exactly what you'd expect. Score, 44 points. It's strong, really strong. Kass sits in the leader's chair. Now he has to wait. Shaun White is next. White drops in. He's not playing it safe, not after qualifications. He's going for everything. Backside air, frontside 1080, back-to-back rotations, perfectly executed. The amplitude is insane. He's flying higher than anyone else, more technical, more difficult. And then the landing. Perfect. The score flashes, 46.8. Gold medal. Shaun White is the Olympic champion at 19 years old. In his first Olympics as a favorite, he's everything everyone said he would be. And Danny Kass, silver, again. On the podium, they stand together, 2 Americans, gold and silver, teammates, rivals. White is beaming. This is his moment, the culmination of everything, the endorsements, the hype, the pressure. He delivered. Kass, he's smiling too, has to. Silver medal at the Olympics is an achievement most athletes would kill for. But you can see it, the frustration, the pattern forming. Twice now, 2 Olympics, 2 silver medals, both times beaten by the same person. Afterward, in interviews, Kass is diplomatic, congratulates White, says all the right things, but the British media notices his attitude. Headphones still on, his reluctance to play the Olympic PR game. He's not bitter, he's just Danny. But the snowboarding world notices something else, a divide forming. The mainstream falls in love with Shaun White. The core snowboarders, they gravitate toward Kass. He represents what the sports used to be about before the cameras and corporate money. After Turin, their paths diverge even further. Shaun White becomes snowboarding's Tony Hawk. More endorsements, more medals. He'll win 2 more Olympic golds in 2010 and 2018. His face is everywhere. He transcends the sport. He dates celebrities, starts music festivals, becomes a part owner of Mammoth Mountain, launches his own snowboarding league in 2025. He becomes undeniably the greatest competitive snowboarder in history. 3 Olympic golds, 15 X Games medals. He is winter sports. Danny Kass, he keeps riding, keeps winning, takes his 5th US Open title in 2009. Grenade Gloves becomes one of the most successful core snowboard brands, representing that authentic, rebellious spirit the sport was built on. He stars in the Fuel TV series The Adventures of Danny and the Dingo. He maintains his cult following. But he never wins that Olympic gold, the one thing that would cement his legacy in the mainstream consciousness. And the rivalry? It fades, not with a bang, but with a quiet acknowledgement. They're teammates. They've pushed each other. They've made each other better. Here's what people forget about the Shaun White-Danny Kass rivalry. It wasn't personal. They weren't enemies. They were competitors who represented different visions of what snowboarding could be. White showed the world that snowboarders could be mainstream superstars, clean-cut, marketable, Olympic heroes. He brought millions of dollars and millions of fans into the sport. Kass showed snowboarders that you didn't have to sell out to succeed. You could start your own company, wear your own gear, party your way through New Zealand, and still be one of the best in the world. The rivalry wasn't Flying Tomato versus Rebel. It was the future of snowboarding versus its roots. Corporate versus core, mainstream versus counterculture. And the beautiful thing? Snowboarding was big enough for both. White became the household name, the legend, the greatest ever. But ask any core snowboarder who lived through that era who they related to more, who they wanted to ride like. A lot of them will say Danny Cass. Because Cass represented something that can't be manufactured or marketed: authenticity. He was, and always will be, the people's champion. 2 Olympic silver medals, 5 US Open titles, 7 Winter X Games medals, co-founder of one of snowboarding's most iconic brands. Danny Cass never became Shaun White, and you know what? He never wanted to. Because sometimes being second to the greatest doesn't make you a loser. Sometimes it makes you a legend in your own right. This was the Flying Tomato versus the Rebel, the rivalry that defined an era and showed us that snowboarding was big enough for heroes and rebels alike. What does it take to be remembered in sports? Does second place make you a failure or a legend? Ask Danny Cass, the man who won 2 Olympic silver medals and lost both times to the same person, Shaun White. Subscribe for more untold stories from beyond the rings. Which rivalry should we cover next? Comment below.